Hi everyone and welcome to a overview video of my daily organizer ReMarkable 1 and 2 PDF template. I will include a description on the Etsy advert for the template, but for me and for a lot of other people, rather than reading through a description, sometimes it's nicer just to see a proper video overview it. So that's what I'll be doing today. So just a bit of background, obviously, for those who have used templates before, I would say the planner is the most popular template on the ReMarkable and probably a lot of other devices. And it makes sense because when people are looking to be more organized, that's probably the go-to, isn't it? Is a good planner or organizer. However, when looking at these, and I have purchased them myself in the past, I've noticed most of these tend to be follow a calendar year, which is nice in itself, but the problem is you then need to either repurchase or buy or make another one the next year. So when 2025 rolls around, that organizer or planner is no longer valid and it's a bit useless. So I've been racking my brain as to how I can not only create an undated planner, because there are some of those available, but an undated planner that links to months, weeks, days, quarters and years in an effective way, which the dated planners do. And that's what I believe I've put together, and that's what I want to show you today. So it will be a quick overview. I won't go into all the detail, but it'll certainly be more detail than reading a quick paragraph or two about it. So just initially, right off the bat, when you purchase this, you will receive two versions. So this is the first version with the standard cover, and you also get an alternate cover version where this section is, well, it's a different colour and this section's blank as well. Essentially, you can name it whatever you want and you can write the year in there. You can do that yourself on this version, but the whole thing's blank. Maybe if you didn't want it to be called Daily Organizer, you can call it Joe's Organizer or something like that. But even for this one, you can sort of just put the name on it here and do it in your neatest writing. This won't be, but you get the idea. So let's go over to the slight overview. So every single page in this organizer has these side tabs, which are each hyperlinked. So from no matter where you are in the document, you will always be able to find your way to the planner, the to-do list, the goals and the notebook. So let me just show you an example here. I'm on a random note page and it's all still here. It doesn't matter where you are, it's hyperlinked, just like a normal notebook, which is the idea and the vision here. And just quickly, you might think, why have I got loads of pencils here? I just thought the background looked a bit boring, so I've got all my ReMarkable pens to hand if I need to use them. So aside from the front page, this is where you'll be spending most of your time. This is the year overview, and this is essentially the backbone behind navigating around the planner. So as you can see, you've got your years, your quarters, your months and your weeks, and they are all interlinked and hyperlinked, and I'll show you an example shortly. So what you can do here is actually just a quick thing to mention before I go into that. You'll notice there's typically 52 weeks in a year, or just over 52 weeks, but there's 53 weeks displayed here. That's because of the undated aspect of it. It might be that it is spanning across 53 different weeks over the year. So for example, if January the 1st falls on a Thursday, then you might end up going into 53 weeks, if that makes sense. It'll make sense when you start using it, but it's got a dotted line around week 53 to indicate it's sort of optional. You might not necessarily need it, just depends how the year falls. So as a quick fly through these, just to give you an example. So you go into the year, you go into the quarter, you go into the month, and you go into the week. And from the week, you go into the day, just like that. So it's got every sort of cadence of time period you might want to plan around. And that's not to say you have to use absolutely every single one of these. Personally, my favourite way to plan is by month and by week. Some people obviously need a daily schedule and need a quarterly schedule. I still use all of them, but I always use week and month, and just sometimes use day, and generally use the quarter and the year. So it's whatever you prefer, and you don't have to use them all. It's completely up to you. So I'll dive more into detail on the planner in a moment, but just to cover off the rest of the sections, we have, which is where I'd suggest maybe you start off using the template if you do decide to get it, is in the goals section. So obviously with your planner, you can plan your day-to-day tasks and activities and things coming up in the future. However, it's much more, I would say, use the word strategic than that if you want it to be. So within the goals section, we have space for long-term to-dos as well. So at the top here, before I dive into the contents of the page, there is a tutorial, and I won't go through it all, but I'm particularly proud of this section because it really helps you get the best out of the template. Just wipe off some dust there. But you can navigate through a multi-step tutorial explaining how to get the best out of the goal overview section, setting a vision statement, so that might be sort of the general longer term, longer than a year, multiple years over the course of your life, what you're wanting to achieve, the sort of person you want to be, and therein that will start shaping what your goals look like, whether it's monthly, annual, and you add your goals in here, and obviously these are all hyperlinked to a section where you've not just got a goal titled, you're writing why that goal is important to you, what success looks like, so how do I know I've actually achieved that goal, and how will I achieve this? So this is the details of how you're going to go about doing it. And as you work your way through this sheet, you're going to start coming up with to-dos to help you achieve your goal. And that's when you dive into the next section. Now this to-do list is, again, I'm really particularly proud of this. I do have a separate template, which is purely just a to-do list, which features a lot of the contents of this. And it's got a lot of great feedback because guess what? It's not just like most to-do lists you see, it's not just a line and a checkbox. So for some people that's suitable, but for most people I'd say you need a little bit more. So I'm not going to go into every detail, but you see here for every task you have, you've got you can log the status, so it's not started, in progress, blocked. You can give the reason, a deadline. You can have a progress tracker with 10 sections to shade in as you go. Obviously the check mark section, which is the most satisfying bit to fill in. I'm just going to do it now because why not? I love it when I complete a task and you're able to do this. Boom. That's not the best check mark, but you get the idea. And then you can break your task up into subtasks. And even if you want to, you can break it into multiple subtasks. And plan away. And if you need more space, I've got a notebook section here, which I'll come on to again in a minute. And it's not just that one page, but you've got multiple pages for each priority. So right now you're looking at high priority, shift the slider down to low priority. These are sort of like the icons you see on your iPhones, quite satisfying to use, and you have the same on low priority there. So a really effective to-do list. And then so you can extract to-dos from your goals, or it might just be general things you come up against in day-to-day life, things you want to achieve or do at work or in your personal life. And then you can start popping them into your planner. The last thing to cover off on the to-do list is the priority matrix. If you've not done one of these before, it essentially helps you organise your task into priorities, and even in some cases takes them off your list completely, directs you where to delegate them or even just to schedule them to do in the future. So really useful to use. So as I say, once you've got your goals and you start doing your to-dos, you're diving into the planner. Before I go into the details of the planner, just a last note for a section. I think any decent planner or organizer should have an in-depth note section, because as you're planning a day, trying to be creative with your goals or your to-do lists, you might need a lot of space to write, not just a small box at the bottom of the page. So here in your note index, you can add a date, add a topic, click on the number, and there you are, a whole page and section to start jotting down your ideas. And don't get me wrong, there's going to be some sections where you need 1 page, some sections where you need 5 pages, some sections where you need 20 pages. And you can do exactly that just by going into the page view, you can click duplicate on this page. You can duplicate it as many times as you like for the space you need, and it will stay in entry 1 and it won't go into the next entry. So it's really useful to use there. So now I'm going to go into the planner. So I would say perhaps the main event of this template and where you're going to get most of your productivity from. So this is the alternate cover. You can see I've left that blank there for you to complete that and call it whatever you'd like, and a bit of an X-ray version, a reverse of the colours there. So we're going to dive into our planner and I'm going to give you an example. So this is an example I drafted. It's not my personal calendar, but you can see here that I've been filling in the weeks. Currently we're in week 13, so at the end of March in 2024. And before I dive into the weeks, I'll go from the biggest time period down to the smallest. So the vision behind year highlights is each one of these is hyperlinked across to the month. I'll show you that in a second. But for this page, sometimes it's nice just to have an overview or a snapshot of some of the main events that are throughout the year. Maybe sometimes you don't know the exact date things have happened, but you know, oh, I've got a wedding in July with one of my best friends or a family member. I know in June there's a sporting tournament on that I want to make sure I'm planning out time to watch with my friends or family. In Tuesday, I've got, in February, I know my work contract is ending perhaps, so that's a very big event that I need to be mindful of. I've got a couple of holidays booked that year in May and October, so I want to make sure time is set out for that, or maybe even it's not booked in, but you know it's going to be happening and you want to book it. A music festival, you get the idea. It's sort of the bigger life events which you plan quite far in advance or start planning, and you can have this on the year highlights page. And from your year, you can break it down into quarter. So for the quarters, use it however you like. I personally find it quite useful to use quarters for, again, larger items that are spanning across multiple months. So for this example, month end at work is quite popular. Not popular, but it's quite a prominent time for me where I'm busier at work, so I've blocked that out there. Annual leave for me that's run from December into January, I've blocked that out here. A work project, working on the annual enrolment window, I know that's in February every year, so I blocked that out. School holidays for my son, this sort of thing that spans across multiple months. Excuse me. And then on every section you've got arrows to navigate throughout your quarters, and each month has the specific amount of days allocated as well. So in February, you can see there's 28 with the potential for 29 on the leap year. And when that bar goes, you'll see that there's 31 in January and March. And then a hyperlink to your yearly page there. And then next we'll go into our month. So for the month, I took the inspiration from, I think a lot of people have those monthly calendars on the fridge, right? With the where you can use the marker pen that rubs off, and they're really good to use, and I still use them on my fridge, even having this ReMarkable calendar, because it's useful for the family. So no matter what your January looks like in the year, whether it starts on a Saturday or a Tuesday or a Thursday, you just add in the numbers there and it's good to go. So I'll give you March's example. So you see that March started on Friday, so you just cross out these days, cross out the days that you don't need, and you've got your March there. And then you can start adding in the things that are coming up throughout that month, birthday parties, events. I won't go into it all, but you get the idea. Blocking out time for a bank holiday, which is like a public holiday here in the UK, and a note section for maybe you've got items here that you want to take from the goal section, things you want to be mindful of that month, things you want to focus on. And then of course you've got hyperlinks back to the year and quarterly sections here. You're sort of maybe hopefully starting to get the idea now that everything is very much interlinked. And then our weekly page. So this is where it gets really quite, I'm quite proud of this in particular. So from this main year overview, you can get to the exact day of the year within 2 clicks. So I know I'm on week 13 and today's Saturday, so I can click into that and then click into Saturday, and I'm right on my day plan. So I'll go over the week in a second, but from the daily view, you can tap there and then you're back into your weekly view. You've got hyperlinks to every single day of the week. You've got your meal plans, or even if you want to do a retrospective, so you're keeping track of your health and the food that you're eating. Reminders, mood tracker, highlight of the day, notes and thoughts, and of course an hour by hour schedule, which is flexible as well for those who are working night shift. It's not labelled AM or PM. You can do that yourself depending on what times of the day you're typically awake and doing your plans, and plan it however you want. You could just write on each line, block out time like this, however you find it most effective. And so you've got your daily schedule there for every day of the week. Now I will go back into an example of the weekly schedule here. I think this is where I put the example. Yeah. So again, even though it's undated, you still can create it to be dated if you want to. So this is the first week of 2024. Luckily, well, funnily enough, it actually started on a Monday. So we've got Monday the 1st of Jan, 2nd of Jan, 3rd of Jan, 4th of Jan, and then it's like that. So you're still able to make use of the dated aspect, but you're not limited to one calendar a year. That's why it's particularly useful, I would say. So you're able to extract your to-dos from your to-do list, put them on a weekly basis. So we've got a high priority list here that I want to make sure I get through, and a low priority list, which I'd like to do, but it's okay if I don't really. A habit tracker. So here is something I track personally, is trying to do exercise every day in some form, whether it's a walk, etc. Vitamins, getting to bed in a good time, and it's always good. I always try to use this section, even though it might seem like, oh, I'm just wanting to be productive or use it for work. I'd always have a focus, because that's something you see often when you're planning, and so every day you become mindful of whatever that is. So set a focus at the start of every week, and you will improve in that area if you're constantly looking and checking back to it. You've got a section maybe where you can put the main event of that day. Obviously with the daily planner you can go into more detail, but you might just need to know, oh, on Monday I'm working in the office on that day. You might not need to drill down into the daily specifics. You might not need to know that schedule, or you might not even want to do a schedule for that day. You might just want to do the week view where you're traveling into the office. My Monday to Friday looks pretty similar, but I know on Thursday I'm playing football, and on the weekend we have a bit more variety of other things going on. So I won't go into any more detail, but you get the idea that it really covers off everything you need from every time period, I would say. If you do feel like there's anything else that might be helpful to add to that, then please do let me know, because I'm always open to feedback. But I'm particularly happy with this, as I say, because I don't like the idea of having to get one every year. And particularly when you can create an effective one, which is sort of a single-use lifetime document, which not only is a planner, but I would say an effective life organizer to help you go in the direction you want to. It's got tutorials on it to help you get the most out of it, and my quite popular to-do list elements and a notebook as well, all into one. So I hope you found that useful. Have a great rest of your day, and thank you for your time.